Hmm. Hello, everyone. Oh, I'm really excited about today's theme. Um, it because it came from such an interesting source. I was having a conversation with Chantal. Actually, I might as well put the banner right now so you can see. Chantal Safford Abbott, who is a friend of mine and also the creator founder of the Deep Space. And so we were having a conversation about the next theme for the deep space. And she was like, "Yeah, I believe it's going to be imposter syndrome." And I was like, wow, yeah, I want to talk about that. I want to share what I want to share the fact that that has had such a huge impact in my life. Like I identify with having imposter syndrome. And so we got really excited, and so I said, okay, I'm going to share about it and hopefully start the conversation. Because for those of you who don't know, the deep space is a space for human conversations, a safe space. And Chantal created this space so that we can gather together and talk about important themes and subjects in our lives that have a big impact, and that we don't necessarily take the time to talk about and to listen to other people's experiences and have a chance to ourselves share about what's going on in our lives and how it's affecting us. So it is a transformational space, and I really encourage you, if you haven't experienced it, to give it a go, especially if imposter syndrome speaks to you. So for me, my goodness, it's colored my world so much. As an artist, because I was a professional dancer and actor dancer for 25 years and 15 as an actress. So it definitely had a huge impact then, and is also affecting my life as an entrepreneur, as a solopreneur, right now. So for me, imposter syndrome is doubting my own skills, talents, accomplishments, and really being afraid that I'll be exposed or pointed at like as a fraud, or not being good enough, or not saying the right thing, or just not the way I see it. I kind of see this, the image I get is this person outside of me, which is me, but saying to myself, like, you don't have the right credentials, or you're not famous, or you're not popular enough, or what you're putting out there isn't original. Other people do it. Do you really think you can do it better? um, you didn't invent it, or you don't have enough material to put out a book, therefore you shouldn't even start. Like, just these really intense thoughts that cripple me, that paralyze me in taking steps towards creating the life that I want, the career that I want. For me, it shows up more in that realm, especially career. Um, yeah, more so than, let's say, relationship or uh, other aspects of my life. But yeah, so that's definitely the impact. It's that it's stopping me from being who I am and showing up the way I want to, and to put out into the world what lights me up, what makes me want to get up in the morning, and what has me connect with you. um, Definitely, as an example, I mean, I have so many examples, but one that comes up the most is especially inner fire women. It's brand new. I took a chance during COVID that there had been this idea of putting out workshops for women to have the tools, acquire the tools, and develop a practice around feeling better about themselves, and wanting to, step out in the world fully expressed and empowered and embodied. And, the first thought was like, well, you're not certified in anything that is coach related, therapist related, et cetera, et cetera. Who do you think you are? Like, what makes it, like, I was saying to myself, like, what makes you think that this is going to be of value to anyone? And I remember for the longest time just putting it aside because I was like, oh, this wonderful, beautiful impulse of creativity is not good enough. No one's going to value it. So, and then I would have conversations with friends and they would say, well, Mel, did you struggle in your life? I'd be like, yeah. Okay. Did you acquire tools and perspectives to help you through that? Well, yes. And so you don't think that your experience is value enough to want to show up in the world and share that with other women? You don't think that will inspire them? And I was like, well, okay, seen from that perspective, yeah, suppose I could try. And then I did. And I'm realizing, the more that I think about this, because I've been thinking about it a lot through the past 8 months of putting myself out there and developing Inner Fire Women, is that a way to move beyond this crippling fear, this pressure of not being good enough, or not being perfect enough, because I believe that there might be a correlation between imposter syndrome and perfectionism. For me anyways, there is. That a step towards breaking that pattern is, well, one is sharing. I believe externalizing these thoughts, writing them out or sharing them with a friend helps to weaken their power over us. That definitely is quite effective. And then choosing one step towards what you want to create. Just one step, that first step. And then when that's been accomplished and you look around and you're like, okay, no one's been pointing the finger at me or calling me out for, not being good enough or not doing the right thing or saying the right thing, and then the next step, those, I believe that helps to build the confidence, and then getting the feedback afterwards. I've interviewed women who have taken my workshops and my series and programs, and hearing like, yes, Mel, it did help me with my confidence, with taking time for myself because I didn't do that enough, or, being connected to other women who are experiencing the same thing, like mind-blowing. So, okay, so taking the steps towards what I want to achieve and not letting this imposter syndrome, this part of me that likes to step outside and just point the finger and say, you're not good enough. So that's the impact that it's had on my life, and then shining a light on what's been unconscious and in the back, because I talk a lot about that in my talks and my workshops also, about what's unconscious drives our lives. Well, I find that this imposter syndrome is very sneaky because it does hide in the shadows, and so we want to shine the light. So write it down, talk to it about a friend, go to the deep space and talk about it. Talk about it, share it, listen to other people's experiences and how did they cope with it. That's really powerful. Definitely taking small steps towards what you desire. And my invitation, if you'd like, because I'd love to hear about what, how it shows up. Well, first of all, what is it to you? So let me see. Yeah. What does it mean? I love these banners. Like, where is it? What does it mean to you, imposter syndrome? I would love to know. And then I would love to know, how does it show up in your life? And how does it stop you from doing what you want to do? From acting? Because it has such a huge impact. I believe that there's also, sometimes we do take a step towards what we want to achieve, and then we do maybe receive some kind of information from the external that has us go into, oh shoot, no, I'm not, like, who do I think I am to try this? Or like we then retreat. So maybe you're like me, and you might, like, the first impulse of creation, you're like, oh yeah, okay, I can do this. And then something happens and you're like, oh no, actually maybe I can't. And then there's a retreat, and then it's so much more difficult to take that second step because you took all your courage to do the first step, and then something came and shut you down. And it reminds me of this. When I was in New York, I went there to study movement. I'm a certified movement analyst. And when I graduated, I had all this excitement and this inspiration to go help young dancers achieve their goals of becoming professional dancers. And Steps on Broadway, which is a well-known school in Manhattan, they have a youth program. And I thought, oh, how exciting. I can propose my project that I can support them in becoming more self-expressed and help them with, finding balance in their bodies, because ballet, which is usually the base that they study in these programs, can be really hard on a young body, especially, while they're developing. And so I can counterbalance anyways, help them find their balance in their bodies, because with the certification, I have the tools for both. And so I remember writing, I wrote down the proposition, I had my resume ready, and went in person and asked to speak to the person who is in charge of the program. And that, person wasn't there that day. So I left my resume and the paper, and then I said, okay, no problem. I'll call to follow up. And so I did, left a message because there was no response, et cetera, like did the email thing, called again, showed up again, et cetera, et cetera. And at some point, after several weeks, didn't get any return, and felt really low on myself, and thought, what happened was this sort of like despair feeling of, I don't have enough. Who am I to want to apply to school like that? Like, I'm not a renowned dancer. I'm not a renowned choreographer. I have nothing to show. Here I am. I just finished an intensive year program, became certified as a movement analyst, which has a lot of value. And my first thought was, I'm not enough. I don't have enough. And I believe that that's the difference between someone who doesn't have this part of themselves, the imposter syndrome, is that person would probably say to themselves, maybe something along the lines of, well, I guess the woman, it was a woman who was the manager of the program, is maybe too busy. Maybe she, for some reason, never got my messages. Like, when we're in reality, there's like infinite possibilities. But I wasn't in that place, in this infinite no. Right away, it was about me not being good enough. So it's really interesting, this imposter syndrome, how it's like crippling. It just like presses down on possibility. And I also believe that it takes us away from reality. Because in reality, everything is possible. What wasn't possible yesterday is possible today. I mean, we have proof of that in our time, like infinite proof of that. And there's something to be said about when we feel stuck and there's only black and white, that maybe we can stop, take a breath, and be like, maybe I'm not in reality right now. And then maybe it's not about me not being good enough. You know, and then coming from a different place, like, okay, maybe I can try another way to approach this project. Maybe I can, like, get re-inspired and create again. I think taking a deep breath, writing down these beliefs, sharing, especially sharing. Because when we're not so, a friend who is not so attached to the outcome can really help us see different perspectives, different possibilities, and then help us get re-inspired to create, to be, to express, to show up the way that we want to. So those are my thoughts today on the imposter syndrome. And I truly believe that being there for each other in the sense of witnessing and sharing is really powerful. And the deep space, offers us that platform. And the workshops that I offer gives us that platform to be, the deep space, it's men and women, and Inner Fire Women is for women at the moment. So that's my share. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you very soon at the next deep space, because I'd love to hear about your experience. And if you would like to share, comment, I would love that as well. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in.